once you get out onto the serpentine motocross course, passing is very difficult. So much of what happens to O'Mara and his pursuers in this second moto will be dictated by how quickly and how rapidly they can make it to this hairpin turn and get out onto the course. There you see more than 30 riders trying to squeeze around, and one went down, and oh my, Sam Posey. That's number 16, Johnny O'Mara, the man who won the first moto, who went down. Brock Glover, who was fourth in the first moto, has taken the lead. Number 2, Andre Malherbe of Belgium, just behind him. And oh my gosh, Johnny O'Mara was so keyed up that he went down.
You spoke of the difficulty if you come out of that first starting gate behind. Of course, he is now behind the entire pack.
So the leader is Glover. You see him there, ahead of Andre Malherbe. Ricky Johnson is in third place. An interesting situation for Glover. Sam Posey spoke to him between motos about his fourth place finish in the first moto.
I haven't been feeling really that great all day anyhow. I've been really low on energy for some reason. In that moto, I felt really bad out there. And for some reason, I mean, my times were so far off of what I should be turning. And it just, everything wasn't really clicking at all. As a matter of fact, I was making a lot of mistakes, and I had some trouble with this, my bike. Something happened to the suspension on it. It was just, you know, a lot of it was just me. I didn't ride real hard, and I didn't feel comfortable out there at all.
He has the comfort right now of being in the lead, ahead of Malherbe and his good friend from El Cajon, California, Rick Johnson, who is back there in third place. We'll be back. A 24-year-old Brock Glover of El Cajon, California, the leader early in the second of the two motos, two separate races that make up the United States Grand Prix motocross. Behind him in second place, Andre Malherbe of Belgium. Third place belongs to Rick Johnson of the United States. Now, combined finish in the two motos leads to an overall championship in this event. If the riders were to finish in their present standing, then Malherbe, with the two second-place finishes, would actually be ahead of Glover, who was fourth in the first moto and would wind up first here. Remember that Rick Johnson also finished third in the first moto, and standing third now, he too, Sam Posey, is in contention for the overall championship and bearing down on Malherbe's rear wheel.
He is pushing Malherbe hard, but Malherbe is having his best ride on this track that I've ever seen him have, and I think the reason for that is that the track is damper and more like the tracks in Europe. Then now they're coming down this downhill where really courage counts for everything. Malherbe really backed out of it, Jim. I don't think Malherbe tried to challenge Johnson as Johnson came down on the inside at all. I think he just let him have it. I think you see a man settling there for third, and I mean Malherbe.
Significance of that, of course, is that now, if the riders were to finish in this standing, Brock Glover and Andre Malherbe would be dead equal with first and fourth and second and third, and time differential would be used to choose a champion. A year ago at Carlsbad, Glover had a chance to win the Grand Prix, but wound up losing on the basis of time differential, a disappointment that lingers in his mind.
It was a very frustrating thing after Carlsbad last year losing by 3 seconds. I think the biggest reason is because I had no idea the whole time I was out there that 3 seconds was what it was going to come down to. I want this race at Carlsbad probably as bad as I wanted any race.
But victory had credentials to have escaped Brock Glover. His 5 national championships have made him one of this country's best-known and wealthiest motorcycle racers. His close friend and constant training partner is similarly successful Yamaha factory mate Rick Johnson. And together they exude the new brand of professionalism that characterizes American motocross.
I'm kind of tired of the image of the motorcycle racers, especially the motocross industry or the motocross riders, who train as hard as we all do. And I think the American riders in the last 2 or 3 years have very much dominated the sport. And I think that's due to the fact that our physical training has gone up and up and up. And they've pushed it to new limits, and everyone seems to be pushing each other to new limits. And I think that's such the fallacy of our sport. Everyone assumes that we just jump on the motorcycle on Sunday and go racing.
People hear that I race motorcycles, they think that, you know, I'm hell-bent for leather, and you know, I'm just a big, you know, wide open and just party animal. But I'm far from it. All through school, I couldn't party. I had to go to bed on Saturday night, you know, so I could race on Sunday. So it takes a lot away from your social life, but later on, like now, it's paying off because I'm 19, I have a house, and I have a steady job.
Johnson and Glover live within short walking distance of each other in the San Diego suburb of El Cajon. Together most days, they share the training regimen, which each hopes will help him maintain his place among the elite riders in a sport which, as Sam Posey has pointed out, can be so lucrative. Glover, for instance, works under a Yamaha contract which will pay him more than $1 million over 3 years. Johnson, 4 years younger, continues to rise as he comes back from a dislocated hip, which interrupted his career a year ago. For these two California motocross racers, there is competition, but there is camaraderie, too.
If I can't win it, I'd like to see Ricky win it.
Yeah, that's my feelings, too. If I was going to take second, I'd want Brock to win. But, you know, if I can beat him, I'm going to do everything I can.
Right now, both of them have an excellent shot at winning the United States Grand Prix. And there is Brock Glover in first place, now midway through the second moto. And chasing him in second place, the man who knows him better than any other motocross racer, his friend Rick Johnson. And knowing the man in front of you can be an advantage in this sport.
Well, it certainly can, because you can tell from his body English the vital factor, which is how much energy does he have left. And at this point, the physical fitness and the remaining stamina is maybe more of a factor than the ability to ride around the course itself.
And Sam, even as you refer to stamina, Johnson demonstrated his might be flagging. You saw him go down there on that turn. Now a bystander out there to help him get back out into the action very rapidly. And with the help of the bystander, Johnson is back moving and still in third place. Only one man went by him.
November.
In a race that once was dominated by European riders, we now have an all-American battle for the lead in the second moto of the United States Grand Prix Motocross. 24-year-old Brock Glover of El Cajon, California in the lead. 24-year-old David Bailey of Axton, Virginia chasing him. 20-year-old Rick Johnson, also of El Cajon, California, back in third place. They're in the latter stages of the second moto. David Bailey, who led in the first moto, has gone by now into the lead again. So once again, Bailey is out in front of the other riders. Remember, in the first moto, he broke the spokes on the rear wheel. And oh, how discouraging it must be for Brock Glover to watch David Bailey go by on the downhill where Sam Posey is standing now.
If there's any part of the course that requires sheer nerve, it's this downhill. The fastest section of the course, they have to brake even while they're on that steep decline. It requires an awful lot of nerve. The track surface is still holding up very well at this point. It has not become the dry, adobe-like surface so many people feared. It's offering a very good grip to the studded tires. And right now, the track is very fast.
Right now, it keeps his cool. You have to make Bailey a heavy favorite to win this moto because he has so much more energy, at least it would seem so, than the other riders who completed the first moto while he was resting in the pit. So it is Bailey out in front, Glover in second place now, Johnson in third place, and if they were to finish in this order, it would be Rick Johnson, who would be the overall champion. Glover, who finished fourth in the first moto, almost has to win this one to have a chance to win overall. Ironically, David Bailey's father, Gary Bailey, runs a motocross school in Virginia, and Glover has at times been a student in that motocross school.
You know, motocrossers, I think, of all people involved in motorsports, possess the most full-bodied coordination. Indy racers sometimes just don't have that kind of physical grace that these men do. They kind of need the car to complete the picture for them. But these men are true athletes with the most amazing sense of balance.
Nothing for David Bailey to lose now as he tries to go on to win this second moto. And oh my God, lost control of the bike. Oh. Looks like he's okay. He's up and walking around. That was a horrendous spill. And there you see Brock Glover going right by him and back into first place. So now Glover is in position to win the overall championship if he can maintain the lead. And for the second moto in a row, David Bailey has suffered a mishap while leading.
Bailey makes one of the most commonplace mistakes